Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Chainlink's price chart, and what we talked about in the previous video I'm going to say pretty much exactly to the T played out. Why? If you remember the last time that we talked about Chainlink, I think we were right in here, and the idea was that we are most likely having ABC down into ABC up into wave B, and maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure on the downside into our C leg, meaning overall this can be considered as an ABC flat into this larger degree wave 4, and then after it, what you want to see in order for you to remain optimistic and bullish is another strong move on the upside in form of a 5 wave impulsive structure. Now, why did I say a very strong move up in form of a 5 wave? Here is why. You see, if you want to be bullish on any chart and you want to argue that we have actually hit our final low, I don't know, let's say somewhere around here, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, you need to be able to find in terms of Elliott's waves off of the lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. This specific example is called an impulsive movement. Rules for it are we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4 and in any kind of 5 wave. Wave 3 is just not allowed to be the smallest wave. This is actually a huge no-no in Elliott's waves. And for our sub waves, let's change the colors. Okay, if you are a regular viewer, you know what is going on. We must be able to find 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different counts. Let's say WXY into 4 and like an ABC structure into wave 2. And this is exactly why I said in Chainlink, I want to see another 5 wave up. And I think we can all agree this is a pitch perfect, clear cut 5 wave on the upside. Now, I completely understand. YouTube suggests that I should just make more and more 1000% bullish videos since it will get a lot of likes and the algorithm will like it. And that will lead to what? Probably more and more views. And that is exactly why a lot of big channels do actually constantly publish more and more bullish videos. But I do, on the other hand, would like to keep my integrity and talk about some scenarios suggesting, you know what, maybe now it's time for a move down in Chainlink. But if you want to be bullish and you don't really want to listen to me, you know what, that's absolutely fair enough, because in here I am actually able to talk to you about a bit of a bullish scenario suggesting, sure, this is a 5 wave, but it might be the beginning of an extension structure, meaning this can be on a higher degree into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and we can have a massive strong move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5, and who knows, maybe even in this phase we are going to have like a 30 to 40% move. Do not get me wrong, this scenario can be in play, no problem at all. However, based on my experience, we usually have the most pessimistic scenario happening in the short term. So in the interest of that, I think we should probably consider this thing as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and on a higher degree, I do believe that this might be into this wave 5 right in here, meaning what? In Chainlink, you should probably expect a rather deep move on the downside in order to reach to about, I'm going to say probably these levels between 16.5, 17 to about $18 area, meaning from the current point, if we get even like a 20% move on the downside, we shouldn't really be worried at all. It's just going to be part of the bullish process. Now, if you want to still believe on that bullish count that I talked to you about earlier, then okay, what you do not want to see in Chainlink is actually in the short term taking this low down here about $20.8. Why? Because if we do go down and take the lows, two things are going to happen. Number one, we really cannot argue anymore that this is going to be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 since we took this initial low, and we have to sort of think more about this possibility suggesting, you know what, maybe we have completed a 5 wave up and now it's time for a relatively deep move on the downside. Number two, if from the current point we get our move down, at that point, if I just go on 15-minute time frame, okay, I'm thinking you might be able to argue, look, this is 1, this is 2, this is going to be wave 3, correction for 4, another move down into wave 5, meaning this is going to be the beginning of a new move down in Chainlink. Now, here's a very important point. Since in here we may end up having a 5 wave, I'm thinking, who knows, maybe on some higher degree we are going to have something like an ABC zigzag, which the subwaves for it are going to be like this: 1 2 3 4 5 wave down into a correction for wave B, maybe ABC, maybe WXY, maybe even a WXYZ, possibly even a triangle, doesn't really matter honestly a whole lot, and then another 5 wave down into wave C. And here is a very interesting point for you. In case that we get another move down in the short term in Chainlink, in order to even take the lows, at that point I'm willing to bet a lot of stupid people are going to open some short positions in here in hope that effective immediately we get a continuation of this move down, but that is usually not going to happen. In fact, after completing a 5 wave down, which I think the end of it is going to be right around here, we are going to have a move on the upside, and that might actually shake a lot of traders out of their trades. And then, okay, we are probably going to get after it another continuation of the move down, and you can actually have a decent idea of what is going to be next when we get to somewhere around these areas. Why is that? Okay, let's check out different cats. Scenario number one suggests, okay, in Chainlink we are actually bullish, and from the current point we're going to get a massive move up. In that case, in this initial phase, you want to see a 1 2 3 4 5, generally a very strong move on the upside without a whole lot of overlapping of the waves. If you see this, okay, great, you can argue on a continuation of this uptrend. On the other hand, if you see a slow and choppy move down, a correction structure, at that point you essentially have a bit of a bearish setup. Why? Because this is 5 down, this is correction up, meaning what? Yep, you guessed it right, the next move is going to be a decent one down, and I'm actually willing to bet at that point everybody and their mothers are going to talk about the possibility of having in Chainlink, at least in the short term, a beautiful head and shoulder structure, and the target for it can be, yes, somewhere around that $16 to $18 area that we talked about earlier. So what is it that I'm trying to say? Look, in Chainlink, I do believe it might be time for a relatively deep move on the downside, maybe like another 20% move down starting from the current point. However, I need you to remember this is absolutely not going to be a bad sign. In fact, this is going to be an insanely bullish setup, because it is suggesting on some higher degrees we are having, excuse me, let's just take this one, 5 wave up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and what's next? Big move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5, which on a higher degree it's going to be into this wave 3, correction for 4, another move into wave 5. And you want to remember, in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is known to be quite a strong and sharp move. Okay, it's very important to understand that, and it is exactly why I do believe after the current move down in Chainlink is over, we are going to see some beautiful price action. And if you are a Chainlink investor, odds are your patience in this phase is going to be rewarded big time. So overall, not to worry, we are looking one way or the other absolutely great and bullish, but in the short term the structures can be up for the base. And you know what, let's be pessimistic, because honestly, if in these types of markets you're gonna be like way too optimistic, you are going to lose a good bit of money, I promise you that. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Chainlink's price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.